When you're struggling with your mental health, the world can seem pretty heavy, like no one understands what you're feeling or you're not sure how to ask for help. But here's the real truth. You're never in this alone. 988 Lifeline's trained crisis counselors are available 24/7 to offer the help and support you need to make it through. No judgment, no stigma, just someone to listen. Text or call 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, day or night. 988. Hope has a new number.
The Louisiana Swamplands. Out here, you're either lunch or you're enjoying it. Make sure you end up on top with the all-powerful lineup of Kia SUVs, like the Telluride, Sportage, and Sorento, equipped with available all-wheel drive, higher ground clearance, and the interior capacity to bring everything you need, so you'll always remain more than a gator's length ahead. Visit your local Kia dealer today to find your next adventure in our ever-capable lineup of SUVs. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-3334-KIA for details. Always drive safely.
Growing a business brings pressure. Staying compliant and retaining top talent in challenging times. You feel stretched thin. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put over 35 years of HR service and technology to work, offering my employees competitive benefit options while lightening my HR load. Engaged people empowered to be their best means overcoming obstacles. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Behind home plate, we bringing it to them all day. All day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. Always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Birdland.
Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation of Baltimore Sports Talk. I am your endearingly listening host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by a guy who, after this past week, is now counting days to training camp for the Ravens, the button lever Josh Soroka.
Did I miss something? Did something exciting happen for the Ravens this week?
No,
I know
the Orioles had a rough couple of days. It was
definitely a rough. It was definitely a rough weekend for the O's. A little ALCS preview maybe with the Rangers in town, but a nice loss today to cap it off. Cap off the crap weekend.
Yeah, the loss on top of the loss today, a double loss. We'll get to that later in the show. Josh, why don't you know how in your house you can set your house temperature? A thermostat type idea, and same in your car. Why don't they have these? It's really hard for me to get the right temperature in the shower. Thermostat type idea, and same in your car. Why don't they have these? It's really hard for me to get the right temperature in the shower. Thermostat type idea
in the shower,
and same in your car. What is that? Was that repeating on mine or on both of our ends?
I clicked on a thing and Facebook opened up and started going crazy.
Okay, so I was just listening to Facebook of myself.
Yeah, so if that's on the recording, I apologize. That was on me.
Or maybe it wasn't recording. It was just on me. There was just a silence, a dead time. That's like I was listening to Coast to Coast, and they Art Bell always says, "Turn off your radio. Turn off your radio." That's what I felt like calling into a radio show and hearing the.
I've got a new podcast for you. If you want to just skip all this Orioles talk.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with Shower Talk to open, but so go ahead.
Well, yeah, Shower Talk is rich people have that feature. You just
do they? You can set your temperature. So like when I wake up, I can say I want the temperature to be 89 degrees, and I just step in. There's 89.
Yes.
Oh, it's just a social class thing. I don't have it. Okay, that's
a social class.
I thought I invented something right now in my head, but I didn't invent it. It's already been invented. All right.
No, that's already out there. Okay. But hey, podcast talk, because you brought up Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to Weaponized?
Oh no.
With Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp.
Oh, I'm very familiar with George Knapp.
All right. Do you know who Jeremy Corbell is?
I don't know who Jerry Corbell is.
Jeremy Corbell is the guy who got what's his name? Lazon?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
Lazaro or something. Yeah,
Cordell is who got Lazaro to talk and work with him and do a whole documentary about his time.
Yeah, so Knapp goes way back with him.
Right.
Knapp was the
goes
first
way
person
back.
to break that story.
And then this guy is the guy that made the documentary and some movies, and they're together now doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So Weaponized, you should definitely check that out.
All right. I don't know. I struggle with how much to get into the UFO stuff. I like listening to old Coast to Coast episodes, but I feel like I started for a while ago, I started following everyone on Twitter that was into UFOs. Yeah. And then I found out there was this huge division. Like John Greenwald has this thing called the Black Vault. I don't know if you heard about it, but he goes at it all the time with George Knapp. And there was like all this drama and people questioning other people's stories. And I was like, I can't invest enough time and energy to get involved in all of this drama. So I feel like with UFOs, it's hard to just dabble in because I don't know how much energy to spend.
I don't go that deep in, but I'll tell you, it's better than dabbling in politics or anything else in the world.
Oh, I agree. That's why I usually stick with sports, but
right.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right.
But yeah, for the UFO interest or people who got excited, we had another UFO sighting that was made public this past week.
Oh, really? I wasn't even.
Oh, yeah. Apparently it happened like 6 months ago, but it was made public this week.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, I can't even listen to all the podcasts that I just subscribe to too many. And they get pushed to the end. So now I just listen to like 3. And the other ones kind of stack up in the end, but they never even show up in my like one to listen because I do the same. Know the order of it.
Because I used to be in my car a lot. Now I work at home a lot, so I don't listen as much. And I find out like every few days I'm like delete because there's too much stuff in my podcast feed.
Yeah,
I got some that are daily podcasts, and they take up a lot of time, and a couple that are like 3 hours long. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's the problem. You need to stick to once or twice a week. Give me an hour. I don't have time for the other stuff. I don't have time for the daily 3 hours. I don't have time for like Joe Rogan. I love you, dude. I don't have time for you.
Rogan is based on his guests. Yeah. Is how much time I'll commit to it.
Yeah.
I have a few podcasts that are that way. I look at the topic or the guest and then decide.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some Orioles talk. Josh, when does things go south? Was it the Rock Kubako hacked laptop? Is that when the wheels started to fall off?
No, it's when we put on the new jerseys.
Oh, it's the City Connect jersey.
It's the City Connect jerseys
that Josh will criticize, and then now he's wearing the hat.
Oh, and I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing the socks for my softball game tomorrow night. I like the City Connects.
Yeah,
I've turned on the City Connects. I like them. I think they look good. That's not going to stop me from making my own version, and people are happy about that.
Yeah, mixed feelings.
Yes, but mixed feelings on Twitter. Good feelings on the number of people that click the buy button over on birdlandsports.com.
And that's what matters.
I take your opinion. If you press that buy button, I value that opinion way more than some made-up Twitter name.
Yeah, that's John Angelos was laughing at all the criticisms of the City Connect jersey as he watched lines wrap around the block for people to buy the City Connect jerseys.
Yes.
John Angelos is going to laugh to the bank to cash that check.
Correct.
So, yeah, you can criticize all you want, but but that's the thing too that always makes me laugh is you could talk about the Orioles and stuff and no one, the response is tepid, and then you throw in a shirt and put it on Twitter and everyone gets fired up. I don't know why you care so much, but whatever.
I don't
know. This is, I feel like, the worst week of the season doing the podcast as far as how we're feeling about the Orioles. And this is coming off
it's the first week of this season where between episodes of podcasts, we lost more games than we won.
Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
All right, listen, we took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Which was great. Outstanding. Going Toronto, New York. Outstanding.
At
Living
New York,
high.
We went to Toronto and swept them with this no easy task. Then we went to New York and took 2 out of 3.
Yes. Amazing.
In some amazing games too, like comeback wins.
Right.
And that, what was it, an 8th inning or something ridiculous on that Wednesday. And then we come back home. We were feeling ourselves a little bit. Come back home after taking care of business against the AL East. The Rangers are no joke, though. The Rangers are no joke.
No, the Rangers are no joke. But also, our pitching was fine. Our pitching was okay. I did not expect the bats to be what caught off this weekend. the Rangers have like the top offense in baseball. I expected our pitching to struggle. And I feel like it wasn't. This weekend, the pitching was okay. It was solid.
The pitcher was bad on Friday. We gave 12 runs. Okay, I don't know. Not solid about 12 runs.
All right, fine. Friday was bad.
Yeah. But Saturday you give up 5, Sunday only 2. So, 7 runs the next 2 days. You'll take
and even Monday rolling into Cleveland, Wells went 6 innings, 1 run.
Wells is great. Wells is really good.
So
and then even and we can break down. I mean the loss on Saturday, was a winnable game. It was just didn't go our way.
Right.
And this game today, when Cianal Perez came in and Mike Baumann came in, it was like single pass Frazier, single pass Frazier, hit to Frazier, bad throw home. It wasn't like they were hitting the ball very hard. It's just, the ball even finding the hole. It was like
everything went wrong this weekend. Because even Friday, like Rodriguez does what Rodriguez does, and he gave up a couple home runs. But then that fourth inning where they scored 8 runs, there was an easy double play ball hit to Mateo that he muffed. And then they scored all those runs.
Right.
Where it's like everything that could go wrong went wrong with this series. But I think also it's one of those things that, all right, this is a young team. We knew May was going to be tough. We're still coming out on top through May. And they're just going to have to learn from this. And hopefully Mike Elias learns as well that, hey, I need to re-examine some things and find some holes for some reinforcements.
Hey, like no team grows through the entire year without some adversity. So this is not run and go cry. This is a little adversity. There's 2 big things we need to get to, Grayson and Cedric, that we're going to need to get to in this episode. But this is, I think, the first big test of adversity that this team is facing, and we'll see how they respond.
Right, and the key is getting those bats back tomorrow, because we don't want to be in a situation where, like Toronto, after we swept Toronto, they had a closed door team meeting because it's gotten so messy up there. We're not close to that. We're still 14 games above 500, and we made it through May, which we said was going to be tough. We said the goal for May would be 500 to get through May. And we did that. We're above 500 getting through May.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're on pace to win 102 games this year. How's that sound? 102 games.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. So that's where we're at.
Second winning month in a row.
Yeah. And we said, listen,
like the sky is not falling.
There's going to be times where we lose series. Like this is just part of baseball. There's going to be times where we lose 3 in a row. This is part of baseball.
Right. It sucks that it was coming home to some good crowds.
Yeah.
But we battled through a tough road trip and got through it. So it's okay.
Yeah, this is no need to panic yet. I think the combined of losing Cedric is also the added to the loss. So that's I think causing some of the panic is not just the loss, but the injury.
Cedric. Yeah, and we don't know how long. All right, so Cedric in today's game in what, the 7th or 8th inning, right?
Yeah, late in the game.
He pulled up on the bag and got hurt.
A groin strain, they're calling it.
Right, which means we don't know how long.
I've heard people guesstimate 2 weeks to 4 months.
All right, that sounds about right.
Depending on the severity of the strain, obviously.
Right, which I assume they're going to do an MRI tomorrow.
Right.
And no more. Right. But either way, it's probably a trip to the IL for Cedric Mullins. We have talked about how lucky this team has been so far this season on the injury front.
Yep. And then we also need to get to the John Means setback as well.
Right. John Means was a setback as well, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but let's first deal with Cedric. Yeah.
All right. Can I ask, will something positive come out of this?
Oh, potentially.
Do you think Mike Elias has what's the word? I'm trying to think of a different word besides, does Mike Elias have the balls to bring up Colton Cowser?
Cojones. Yeah. To do what?
To play in the outfield. To play every day in this outfield.
Who?
Colton Cowser.
Oh. The thing is, reminds me a little bit of the Grayson Rodriguez thing last year. in that Grayson Rodriguez was pitching really well, and it was his turn to come up, and he had that injury right before he caught him. And so the same with Colton Cowser. Colton Cowser is currently on the IL. Like Colton Cowser,
I didn't know he was on the IL.
Yes, he is with quad discomfort. Now, 3 days ago, Mike Elias did a press conference, a much ballyhooed press conference, that it was announced that John Means was having a setback.
Yeah, where someone teased on Twitter, "Hey, Mike Elias will make a statement at 4:45."
Yeah, as if this was just normal.
Twitter to go crazy. Yeah.
All
right, so you're right. Colton Cowser is still in the IL, and so is Kyle Stowers.
Right, it's Kyle Stowers is too. But
so that's a problem.
In terms of Colton Cowser, yeah, it's a problem. In terms of Colton Cowser, Mike Elias did say it's going to be a matter of days, not weeks. So, like, potentially, Colton Cowser could be here as early as sometime this week.
So maybe get through this series with Hayes, McKenna playing center field.
Yeah, you got an off day one on Thursday.
Do you bring Cowser straight from the IL up, or do you want to make sure he can still hit in AAA, or do you think he showed enough before being hurt that you're like, just come on up?
I mean, you got batting cages. I think I would just say come on up.
I would
forget I'd hit in 7 days. It's not like a month injury. It's been a week. So, but let's say because Colton Cowser's quad tightness. Quads are tricky. Quads are tricky injuries where it could take a day. And Mike Elias was like it's a matter of days, but it's not like it's a matter of 2 days or 4 days. You just don't know.
Right.
So I agree that Colton Cowser is the answer. Hopefully Mike Elias agrees.
Right. I wish Colton was in a way that the injury is a setback.
Yeah.
But I think with Stowers, you can't put with Stowers on the IL, that kind of helps the Cower.
Yeah.
There's no one else on that down in Norfolk you'd want to bring up.
No. There is someone at Bowie you could bring up. I just throw that out there. If you want to go there.
All right. Can you bring up Heston?
I don't think the Orioles will. You can.
He's not on the 40 man.
Yeah,
is Colton on the 40 man?
Oh, I don't think so.
All right, so you're gonna have to make a move regardless.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to make a move regardless. Hopefully, Cedric Mullins isn't a 60-day DL where you can, that opens up.
No.
Hopefully that's not the situation.
But when you look at it, Kerstead, you're gonna want on the Kerstead has to be on the 40 man by the end of the year. And the way he's playing, he's going to force his way on there.
We hope so.
Who do you dump on this? Does the John Means setback buy you more time?
No, I don't know. I don't think it does. But I mean, we can talk about who to dump, but because it's the same argument with Colton Cowser, and it's the same argument. What if you did Jordan Westburg? That could be another answer, is to bring up Jordan Westburg.
I thought Westburg was an infielder.
He is, but it's
what are you talking about? How does bringing Jordan Westburg up help me out in center field?
It's not hard, Josh. It's not hard. Players can move around. Jordan Westburg can play second base. Adam Frazier moves to left field or right field, and Hayes shifts over to center field.
And then Santander on the other side. Yeah. All right, fine. I'll give you that.
Also, what I actually kind of would like to see, because I think it'd be fun, is Mateo has experience playing the outfield. He's played all outfield positions, played several games at center. I want Mateo to be our new center fielder, to be honest.
I like the idea of Mateo. I like the idea of, hey, your head screwed up at the plate, so let's get you something else to think about.
I think it's a little weird. This is a separate discussion, but I think it's a little weird.
Fell apart?
No, that's not weird at all. I mean, he's regressing to what he normally was. What's weird to me is we have so many young, talented middle infielders. I hear all the time about all our talented middle infielders. Josh, who plays shortstop at second base? Who plays the middle infield every day for the Orioles? Mateo and Frazier.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
Did I lose you? I think we lost Matt. Hopefully Matt comes back. Hopefully it's not me that got knocked out. I'm seeing RL Topper is saying Westburg can play left field. I'd have to go back and check, but I mean, again, it's like Matt was saying, with these are professional ball players and you can move them around. Mateo needs to go to Double-A. I don't know what good that would do for Mateo. Mateo was on fire for the month of April, and then he had a really bad May. I don't think Double-A will open anything up for him, and I don't think that Triple-A has room for him to play every day. So, let's see. I did lose Matt. So just hop on in on the chat and let's keep the conversation going until Matt comes back. Let me figure out how to turn off the screen so you can actually see me. And I could just lean like this. And that way I'm tucked into the corner. I'm just looking at the 40-man and it's full, but there's definitely stuff on there. Let's see. Topper, you're saying Elias said he was going to have Westberg play the outfield to get some reps. The Mateo comment was a joke, but something's got to give with him. Super utility role. Let Ortiz get the playing time. The bench of the current Orioles bench confuses me all of the time because Ortiz goes up and down. Yet Ryan O'Hearn's on here. I don't see Ryan O'Hearn's left-handed. Is that the reason he's on here? Because he bats and throws left-handed? I don't understand what he would be doing here. I'm looking. Urias is on the 40-man, so we want to keep that. So 40-man outfielders, we have Kyle Stowers and Taron Vavra. I would be okay with moving either of them off the 40-man in order to make room for Westberg and or Kjerstad and or Cowser. For infielders, we got Frazier, Henderson, Mateo, Mountcastle, O'Hearn, Ortiz, Urias. I'd be fine with O'Hearn getting knocked off that list. Frazier surprised me this year, so I'm very happy with Frazier at second base. Then on the when we go over to pitching, it gets a little tricky because there's a lot of pitchers on this 40-man, and I don't know which one you can move. We got Aiken, Baker, Bauman, Batista, Bradish. Hey, Matt's coming back. Hey, yeah. What happened to you?
I don't know. There was a snap, crackle, pop on my computer. Then the screen went blank.
Awesome. I was just talking with RL Topper, who was saying that
Westbrook he's taking over for me.
Well, he was saying that Westfield can play in left field.
Westbrook,
and that Elias mentioned he was wanted Westbrook to get some playing time in the outfield. So I was looking at these 40-mans, and how do we make room for Westberg, Cowser, Kjerstad? Because at some point this year, you would think all three of those guys are going to work their way up here.
Right. If it doesn't happen now, it'll happen later.
Right. And I see the obvious ones are Taron Vavra and Ryan O'Hearn, because these are guys that are more not set in this position, guys that are going to get bumped out.
Right. But Josh, aren't there some pitchers? I
was looking over the pitchers. The pitchers gets tricky. Here's the pitchers list on the 40-man.
Yeah.
Keegan Aiken. You're not going to dump him.
I guess
right.
Not.
All right. Well, here, you tell me, is this a candidate to get released? Aiken.
Doubtful.
Baker.
No.
Bauman.
No.
Batista.
No.
Bradish.
No.
Cano.
No.
Colum.
No.
Gibson.
No.
Givens.
How he's pitching lately, maybe. But I would say doubtful.
Kramer.
No.
Perez.
No.
Dylan Tate.
No. Though he might at some point go to the IL 60, the 60
right.
IL.
He could move.
Yeah.
Yes. Austin Voth.
No.
Tyler Wells.
No.
All right.
Those are all the major league roster guys.
Right. So here's the minor. Here's the minor leagues.
Okay,
I'm setting you up.
All right. I'm going to DFA some guys right now. Go ahead.
All right. Ready? Noah Denoyer.
He's a young guy. I think you want to keep him. Yeah.
Logan Gillespie.
Yeah, you can DFA him.
All right. Done. So you're gonna DFA Logan Gillespie.
He's done. He probably won't be picked up by anybody else either. Yeah, but he's DFA'd.
DL Hall.
No.
Cole Irvin.
No.
Seth Johnson.
No, he's the guy we got back in the trade, and
yes,
he's come back from injury, and he has a lot of promise. He's young.
John Means.
So no. He's on the 60-day DL, so no.
Oh, but if he wasn't, then maybe.
No, yeah, he's a no.
Grayson Rodriguez.
No, we can talk about him later, but no.
Right. Drew Rom.
No.
Nick Besby.
Ooh, no.
Guy that keeps getting caught up.
Yeah, I would say doubtful for Nick Besby. Doubtful.
Spencer Watkins.
At some point, Josh, we need to upgrade our starters. This is a separate discussion.
So the question
about
is
outfitters now.
No, the question is about some of these starters if they can be pen guys.
Yeah, I mean Spencer Watkins. There was just an article written about him, not by him.
Which was by him.
Coming off injury and that he still hasn't left the club. He is a rotation depth piece that I think you need to have. So I would say doubtful to Spencer Watkins.
All right, Bruce Zimmerman.
I would say a maybe. Like he's a guy you could part with. I think.
I think Bruce. I think Bruce is the guy you could cut in there.
I think,
and you said Gillespie.
Gillespie. I think Denoyer maybe. I don't know much about him.
Okay,
but Zimmerman and now, Gillespie are the
right
the pitching side.
So now do you see why I was focused on Vavra and O'Hearn?
Yeah, I mean Vavra is not being removed from the 40-man. I don't see that's happening.
Why? Because he's a left-handed bat?
Yeah, and because he's already proved so useful. Someone else would pick him up in a heartbeat. And I think he's he's a great utility guy. He can play so many different areas and help you, and he's a good contact guy. And he's young still.
But in that case, I don't know if you're bringing anyone up. Or if you're going to say, all right, if you're going to go with your scenario of either Vavra in the outfield or Frazier or Mateo and adjust that way.
Yeah. So my view is if I was in charge of the world, I think O'Hearn is pretty limited in what he does.
Yeah.
He's been clutch a little bit.
O'Hearn is here. O'Hearn is here because he's a left-handed first baseman.
And that's nothing, Josh. The Cedric Mullins is a lefty.
Right.
All of a sudden, if you move Hayes to center, which we can talk about this, I don't know if that's a good idea because Hayes is not great defensively in left. I don't know how great I'll be in center.
No, I think McKenna goes to center.
So McKenna's an everyday player now?
I think McKenna gets his shot. Yes.
But that's again, Josh, replacing another lefty with a righty because McKenna's a righty, Hayes is a righty. So it's taking a lefty out of the lineup. And so maybe a guy like Vavra becomes more important because he's another lefty that can play in the infield and the outfield.
Right. But that's where I just don't like Hayes in center.
Okay, fine. I don't either. So I think another possibility, and I think that is most likely. This is the most likely thing that will happen. And we haven't even mentioned it.
Okay.
And that's that they call up Joey Ortiz, who's been, on the Norfolk shuttle all year. We call up Joey Ortiz.
Right.
And we play around with it for a little bit, right? Like
what does play around with Joey Ortiz mean? You put him in the
I
outfield?
think we play around with who's center. So I think
okay.
I think Ryan McKenna gets a start in center. I think it's possible Austin Hayes gets a start in center. I wonder about Colton Cowser, right? If Colton Cowser really is a couple days away, do you put McKenna in there for a couple of days? But until Cowser's ready. I just can't envision a world where McKenna starts every day for 2 weeks. I can't envision that happening. That McKenna becomes an everyday center fielder for 2 weeks. But I also don't like the idea of Austin Hayes out there either. So it's a tricky situation here.
No, it is. It's the one, and it's taken away a guy who's been having a great year. So it's definitely hurts.
We're not even, that's a whole separate thing, right? Production's going to drop. If McKenna's there, it's a drop in production.
Yes.
If Ortiz is there in the lineup instead of Mullins, I like
Anyone.
Ortiz, but it's a drop in production.
All right. No Mullins. Who's your leadoff batter? Who sets the stage now?
I mean, it's interesting. Austin Hayes leads the team in batting average. If you care about that, he puts the ball in play. Adam Frazier, didn't Adam Frazier bat leadoff the other day against a right-handed pitcher?
He did.
He makes contact all the time. I think about speed guys. You don't want to go with Mateo. That's not It's a non-starter there.
All right. Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure. Who do you think should lead off?
I would try out, and he's not doesn't have the best batting average right now, but I would try out Gunnar because he sees more pitches than anyone. So you put him up there to see the most pitches.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
To take pitches, he gets on base.
Lately.
He's been hitting the ball hard, but really it's about getting that pitch count up and seeing those pitches. So that'll help the guys behind him. You see 5, 6, 7 pitches to Gunnar, and that'll help out Adley, Santander, Hayes, whoever's coming up behind them.
No, I think it's a good suggestion. Josh, do you know why Gunnar doesn't seem to play every single day like an Adam Frazier does? Can you explain that to me?
Just because he's been struggling. He wasn't an everyday guy.
Okay.
And it's just a struggle.
Okay. I mean, I think he should be in there every single day. I mean, I think over Frazier, I want to see Gunnar Henderson, but that's just me.
And I think he has played. I'm trying to pull up. I think he's played most games.
Yeah. So that's just a side note there. It's not a big deal. But if we're looking at options again, just to recap this,
Gunnar has played in 48 games.
Okay. Yeah.
Out of 54.
Okay. But is that played in? Is that started?
The stat I'm pulling up is just played in. So I see what you're saying. He might have came in late, pinch runner, stuff like that. Ryan Mountcastle has played in 54 games.
He's played in every game. Yeah.
Adam Frazier, how many games has he played in?
I pulled it up, by the way. Gunnar Henderson has played in 30. He started 33 games.
Okay. All right. See, I just pulled up the played in stats because I don't know how these stats work. Because I see Frazier played in 53, Mullins 53, Adley 53, Santander 50, Hayes 49, and then Gunnar 48.
I'm just saying, and I'm a fan of Adam Frazier. I think he's a good addition to the team.
Adam Frazier's been a huge surprise and something I didn't expect this year. So I'm all for Adam Frazier.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just wonder, like Adam Frazier this year started 42 games, and Gunnar started 33 games. I think that's I don't like that. I think it should be flipped. But let's get back to the center field discussion. So let's just recap this. Who can play center field in the Orioles? McKenna?
Hayes.
Maybe Hayes. I mean, Hayes, he can.
Yes. Those two guys both have played center field for the Baltimore Orioles.
Yes. I think McKenna is a better center fielder than Hayes.
Yes.
I think that's true.
Yeah. Hayes has the hottest bat, but McKenna has better defensive numbers.
Yeah. Offensively, the Boston Red Sox drop aside. Austin Hayes is better offensively. McKenna's better defensively. Yes. Is that it? I mentioned Mateo as kind of an outsider. He's done it before.
I got to look up these stats of when Mateo has done it before, because he has not done it for the Orioles.
Can I make an argument for why I like Mateo at center?
Of course.
He's played second. I think he's played maybe a few innings at third. He's played left and right center. I think you have to go back to San Diego. He played center at San Diego when he played for San Diego.
All right.
For a handful of games.
In March, Mateo did play center field for the Orioles.
Oh, he did? Okay.
In the spring training.
Grapefruit, yeah.
Grapefruit. In the 6th inning, they moved Mateo from shortstop to center field.
I mean, the reason I like him in center.
Then he also got a start at center field. All right, so Mateo, I would list Mateo as a guy we'll put in center field this week.
Right. I mean, I think the argument is, and you brought it up, like he's struggling at the plate. You don't want to mess with him but he's done it before.
Well, and it's not even messing with him. You're struggling at the plate. Let's shake it up. If you were doing solid at the plate, you wouldn't want to mess with that. But what are you going to mess with? You're going to make him do worse at the plate?
You can't do worse. You can't do worse. But the reason I like it is not only does he have speed, which is appropriate for center field, not only does he have a good arm, which I think is appropriate for center field. I think if we look at the future, Josh, you asked, can this be a good thing? hinting at Colton Cowser, and maybe we'll get there. But the other way this might be a good thing is if Mateo can get some regular playing time at center field and proves himself to be, an above average
quality.
Yeah. Set center fielder. I don't feel like the long-term future for Jorge Mateo is the starting shortstop of the Baltimore Orioles. I've made an argument for a while now that I see him as the ideal super utility, late inning pinch runner, can play everywhere. Like that's ideally where I see Jorge Mateo. Now, maybe I'm wrong because the Orioles have kind of strictly used him this year at shortstop. There's been opportunities where they could shift him to second base, right? To make room for Joey Ortiz or for Gunnar Anderson start a short.
Right.
But no, like Mateo is this shortstop.
Yes, you're right.
It has been.
So if you move Mateo, you bring up Ortiz and give Mateo a spot to prove he's that super utility guy that can play anywhere. The Ryan Flaherty of this generation.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because I think long term, I think right now, Ortiz honestly is a better. I know we like Jorge Mateo's defense and he makes great plays, but he also makes dumb plays sometimes. And I think Jorge, we've already seen it in the small sample size. Joey Ortiz is excellent defensively, so I don't think we lose a thing at shortstop with Joey Ortiz defensively. And I think long term, just look at this team. Long term, Mateo, I think his place on the future of this team is as a utility guy where he can play everywhere. And he's done it. He's played in literally every position except for first and catcher in his career in the majors. So this might be a good opportunity to try Jorge in different positions as a way to kind of show his worth in the team. But again, I don't know if they'll go that direction. I think that could be a possibility.
You convinced me that especially with Cowser not ready, and that this could be an easy solution, even if just for a couple of days, even if it's just for the next 2 days. And then they got to figure something out to when they head out west this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what they do tomorrow and what they do for the rest of the week. If it's just the McKenna, I think the simple thing is to put McKenna in center for a couple of days.
Right.
The more creative, more risky thing, I guess, would be to put Mateo out there. And then I think the other possibility is Hayes. But that's it, right? There's no other. Hayes, Mateo is an outside chance. McKenna, that's it for center, right? Right now?
Yeah, unless you're bringing up Cowser or Kjerstad.
And Kjerstad's not playing center either. He's a corner outfield guy. So
he's a corner guy. Hayes or McKenna or Mateo.
I don't see any world where they bring up Kjerstad because they're so slow and deliberate about kind of proving themselves at each level.
Yeah, I think
if they would, it would be Hammett left and Hayes at center.
Yeah, I think the previous administration, the Duquette Buck era, would have grabbed. They used to bring guys from Double A all the time. I think the Orioles are doing things. Yeah, I think the Orioles are doing things a lot differently now, and I think part of it is analytics and all the computer stuff that they have. That, I mean, even at all these AAA games, when the pitcher's in the bullpen, they've got a computer down there watching them and stuff. There's lots of computers involved that's going to make you then go through each step and not just go the baseball eye of, hey, this guy's got it, bring him up.
Yeah, and listen, I can't criticize Elias too much for this because he's proven himself to be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, how many number one prospects does he have to have and how many years to prove that he's good at drafting and developing players? So, I kind of trust Elias here. If he doesn't think Kjerstad's ready, if he wants Kjerstad to do AAA, I'm actually okay with it here.
No, if when we look at Elias's mistakes as GM of the Orioles, the 2023 MLB season is finally in full swing, and we are excited to introduce our listeners to a new way to play MLB Daily Fantasy Baseball on Rival Fantasy. Rival Fantasy is excited to announce 3 unique games that are stepping into the batter's box for the 2023 MLB season. Fantasy Bingo, where you build a DFS lineup with players who will help you get 5 achievements in a row for a bingo to win your card. Challenges, choose which 2 players will score more fantasy points in head-to-head contests. Fantasy Books, pick the over and unders for 2 to 5 players per entry. All right, but here's the best part. Rival Fantasies is offering a special promotion for new users. Sign up today and get a risk-free first play up to $50. That's right. If you don't win your first game, they'll refund your fee up to $50. Rival Fantasy is where baseball and fantasy sports are on the same team. Sign up today with the code PODCAST50 and take advantage of their risk-free first play promo. Visit rivalfantasy.com to sign up and step up to the plate. Get in on the MLB action this year with Rival Fantasy and step up to the plate.
Doesn't that sound refreshing? Why not take it up a notch and make it a Dunkin' Refresher? If you're a Dunkin' Rewards member, you can get a $3 medium Dunkin' Refresher every day all month long. That's a lot of refreshment, and it's pretty refreshing. Not a member? Join on the Dunkin' app. Dunkin' Rewards. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per day. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, the messy and the gutsy. The teachers, the growers, the builders. The skilled, the sharers. The change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go all in and all out. We are volunteers, partners, communities, working together, living together, bringing our experience, passion, and joy to building a better world together. From tackling climate change in Mexico to keeping kids healthy in Kenya, from sustainable farming in the Philippines to education in Kosovo. We learn more, give more, share freely, and serve boldly. Are you ready to tackle the tough stuff? To go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
At Kroger, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
When you're struggling with your mental health, the world can seem pretty heavy, like no one understands what you're feeling or you're not sure how to ask for help. But here's the real truth. You're never in this alone. 988 Lifeline's trained crisis counselors are available 24/7 to offer the help and support you need to make it through. No judgment, no stigma, just someone to listen. Text or call 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, day or night. 988. Hope has a new number.
Maybe we criticize him for not bringing Grayson up last year when he's ready, but he didn't know that injury was coming. And
right, he could have brought him up the week before that injury or 2 weeks before that injury, but sure, yeah.
So,
I mean, and the frustrating thing about Cowser too, just like Grayson, we'll never know. We'll never know if Cowser was healthy. Cowser would have been called up. We'll never know if Grayson was healthy. Would have been called up that week. We'll just never know.
Right. Well, and even if we do, we don't know if he would have gotten caught up and just hurt himself there too.
Yeah, well, that's
and then we would have been in worse shape.
Yeah. All right. So we'll stay tuned on this story, and I guess we'll know a lot more. I think a lot of this will also depend on the severity of the injury, right? I don't see them making a move on the 40-man if it's just going to be 2 weeks, right?
No, but they're gonna make some type of move tomorrow, and my guess is that tomorrow's move is going to be a pitcher or something. Maybe Ortiz, but I don't think.
I think it'd be Ortiz.
Maybe Ortiz, or I guess Ortiz makes the most sense. So you have that bench spot. But my thought would be that Tuesday night you're going to see McKenna in center.
Yeah, I think that's likely. Yeah. Josh, other stuff moving away. Just before we get to Grayson, injuries. We're talking about injuries. John Means. It was talked that his rehab had a setback with his back, not really related to the surgery. So it's not the arm or shoulder,
right?
Just the back, but it's going to set him back. We were talking about a June. Now we're looking at maybe an August. John Means says August. John Means says he plans on pitching this year, but maybe not till August. Does this does this matter at all to you?
No. I want John Means back when he's healthy. I'd rather him back. I'd rather him deal with the back issue now rather than when he comes up here. When he comes up here, I want him healthy. The pitching has been surprisingly well. And if anything, it takes away an excuse for Mike Elias to not make a move. Go make a move and get us a top-of-the-line pitcher. Don't count on John Means to come in and be that guy that you got without making a move.
Yeah, no, I think the John Means combined with the Grayson struggles equals
Shohei Ohtani?
It equals, yeah. I mean, I don't know how many. We listened to I listened to like this baseball prospect podcast, and I listened to Buster Olney. That's like my only kind of content with reporters in baseball outside of the Orioles. But from what they say is there's going to be very few top pitching arms available at the trade deadline.
Right. And I joke about Ohtani, but Ohtani's a rental. He's a free agent at the end of this year. And here's the reality. If you just look at him as a rental, and we're not trying to resign him, because I think that's what it would be. If you want to get stupid here and talk about like kind of trade scenarios. He's an expensive rental.
Right. But no one in all of baseball can make a better deal than the Orioles.
Yes,
right?
That is
by
correct.
having the number one farm system.
But the question is, if we make that deal, can we we have the money, we have the space. Yeah. Are we willing to make that money for the extension?
Right. And
because otherwise,
The answer is no.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think so. It's a no. And so then, Josh, are you willing to kind of go all in for one season, knowing it's just going to be one season? And I think Mike Elias, the answer is no. Because Mike Elias has been so deliberate about the long-term plan for the Orioles. He wouldn't jeopardize that for 1 year. He wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't. And you know what would sting even worse? And what I don't want is you sign. Let's say you give guys up. You get Ohtani. We go in the playoffs. We make a good push in the playoffs thanks to Ohtani. But he's just a rental, and next year he's on the Yankees. I don't want to see that. I don't want to get teased with Ohtani in black and orange, and then he's wearing pinstripes.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a mini version of this with the Andrew Miller trade.
Correct.
And we go back and forth, and it was a good trade.
I was fine with that trade.
But then we had to go and face Eduardo Rodriguez, who we traded for Andrew Miller to the Red Sox. We had to, face him how many times every season, and he would kick our butt. So we had to prepare that the guys we trade for Ohtani is going to come back and kick our butts a bunch of times. But yeah, I think there could be but the Ohtani trade talk might be ridiculous. But when we talk about trades, we're not talking about, we talked about this last week, and this becomes more important now with the Grayson Rodriguez stuff and the John Means. We're talking about a 1 or 2 starter in the majors.
Correct.
So it's not going to be cheap.
No, and I'm willing to pay for that. We have the resources to pay for that.
Yeah, and when we get closer, we'll talk names. It's too early to talk names because teams don't know if they're in or out.
No, and I would argue that the amount of Ohtani jerseys that you would sell, no matter how ugly they are, will help you out with that Ohtani signing.
Yeah. Would you, Josh? You would buy a Ohtani jersey, wouldn't you? Just to have an Ohtani Orioles jersey, you would have.
Yes.
Buy one.
Well, yes, I'd buy one.
Even if you knew it was only a 6-month rental, you'd buy it.
I don't know if I'd do it for the rental. I would not do it for the rental.
It almost makes it cooler if it's a rental. Ohtani's going to play for 20 years, become a Hall of Famer, and everyone's going to forget that he played 3 months for the Orioles.
All right, 3 months I'll pay.
Prove it.
All right. If somehow Ohtani wears black and orange for the Orioles, not the Giants, I will get an Ohtani jersey.
Yeah,
you're right. Even if it's a rental.
All right. So hopefully John Means comes back. But we're rolling what we have. Now let's move on to more depressing news. Grayson Rodriguez got beat up by the Rangers and was sent down. Josh, first, how do you feel about the decision to send Grayson Rodriguez down? and kind of the implications going forward for the team?
It sucks, but we've seen this struggle of giving up big home runs, and he'll be so dominant and strike out, and then he gives up a home run where the ball just doesn't place right. Like it's not like he's purposely throwing the ball down the middle, but it's like every now and then that pitch rises a little too high and it's gone. So I see that and see that he's got some stuff to work on. I see how the rest of our starting pitching is going. I see how guys like Cole Irvin is pitching down in AAA, and I totally understand the move. I mean, but this is common. This happens especially with pitchers where you send young guys up and down for a while until they get settled in.
Yeah.
So I don't.
How are you feeling about the future of Grayson Rodriguez at this point?
Are you asking me if he's Dylan Bundy?
Josh, I've seen all over the place on Twitter, even
he's
like Bird's Eye View, who I love Bird's Eye View. I'm a fan of their podcast. I like how they keep it real, right? They keep it real.
Right.
As in not drinking orange Kool-Aid, like they'll tell you how it is.
Yeah. Even they don't like us.
We drink the Kool-Aid when they do. When they tweeted out that kind of Grayson Rodriguez, small setback, he'll be back in Baltimore and better than ever, or something like that. I was like that was the one that put me up top. Like everyone was saying Grayson Rodriguez is just going down for, whatever, a couple starts. He'll be back in Baltimore, better than ever. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, and maybe I'm too old for this thing, but I'm thinking, Josh, Dylan Bundy. I'm thinking, Grayson Rodriguez might be great. Yeah, great like Kevin Gausman, great like Jake Arrieta, just for a different team. Like I've seen how many Orioles number one prospects were pitchers and didn't work out, right? You can go all the way back to Ben McDonald. Like the optimism around Grayson Rodriguez to me is befuddling, given the history of Orioles and pitching prospects. Now, I hope everyone's right. I hope all of Orioles Twitter's right that this is a small setback. Grayson will be right back. People forget how good Dylan Bundy was in the minors. Like he had a streak of like 50 innings where he didn't give any runs. He was dominant in the minors. And other pitchers have been dominant in the minors too. And it takes some pitchers like Kevin Gausman and Jake Arrieta, it takes a while to figure it out. Other people like Dylan Bundy never really figure it out. So do I hope that, Grayson Rodriguez can figure it out? Yeah, I do. Do I hope his location gets better? I do. Am I like just fine with this? Oh, just a little setback. He'll be back next week. No, that's like that. I am a little bit pessimistic in the sense that, or a little bit questioning of the future of Grayson Rodriguez at this point. And maybe I hope I'm like just, suffering from, some trauma in my fandom, in my past fandom, but I can't just say this is just fine.
No, I think you have a little, you definitely, right. And I think you definitely have a little PTSD from poor Orioles pitching prospects our entire life. I know
it's like it's a different regime. Like there's no one employed when Dylan Bundy was employed within the team and pitching development. Like I get all of that. Still,
I would have felt more comfortable
with pitchers.
I would have felt way more comfortable with him bouncing right back if the Orioles said, "Hey, he's got a blister he's working on. We're sending him down." Or, "Hey, the ball's right." Or say, "Hey," be clear with, "Hey, here's what he's going to work on in the minors." I'd feel a little better. I'm hoping there's some guys who pitched well down in Norfolk. Like I mentioned earlier, Cole Irvin, DL Hall. I'd like to see maybe them get an opportunity through this. Would not.
Josh, why is also both starting a game in a couple of days when you have Cole Irvin and DL Hall? I mean, I think DL Hall actually has been dealing with something. I don't think he's been pitching. I've been looking at box scores, and I don't think DL Hall's been pitching. And they said they're going to kind of limit his innings too. So I think there's something going on with DL Hall. But Cole Irvin, maybe the starts just didn't line up this week for Cole Irvin to get the ball. But why didn't Cole Irvin get the start instead of Austin Both? I'm not sure about that. But
I don't know.
My take on this is as far as why he struggled.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Because we just saw Tyler Wells pitch really well, and his stuff is like half as good as Grayson Rodriguez.
Right.
The problem is you mentioned it. And I think it's as simple. Maybe it's not. I think it's as simple as location.
Yeah.
We saw. It reminds me of Aaron Judge hit that home run, game time home run on what Tuesday
on Batista.
It was a hanging splitter right down the freaking middle. Right. Batista actually pitched against what was it a couple of days ago against Texas on Sunday. That was great Batista. The splitter was dropping out of the zone. The fastball was rising out of the zone. Unhittable Batista. The ball through the Judge was literally a splitter that just stayed right in the middle of the plate. Yes. And when he hit that, I was like, that's a terrible pitch.
Right.
And I also thought like that's Grayson Rodriguez. But Batista does it once every 5 days. Grayson Rodriguez does it once
every game.
5 times every inning. I feel like just Batista, I feel like Grayson Rodriguez has so many pitches that just end up going right down the middle that the hitters just wait for it. And they just kind of foul off pitches and try to kind of not hit the good stuff or the hard stuff and wait for, a mistake. And Grayson Rodriguez has a lot more mistake pitches than a Tyler Wells. So I think it's as simple as location stuff. But I say as simple as, if it was that simple, you would have figured it out by now. So,
we'll see. With that Batista pitch to Judge, I don't know why you got Batista up there. Why do you not just throw the fastball every time?
Oh man, he clearly didn't have a good feel for the splitter, and so
you're trying to overthink it if you're going back to that splitter.
Yeah, but again, he was a splitter against Texas, and it was dominant. Like no one even got within when the splitter works. It's a beautiful thing, but the fastball I feel like is almost always there. The splitter is sometimes there, which is so maybe for Aaron Judge, if you don't have a good feel for the splitter, I'm with you. Don't
throw that ball hard.
Yeah, just throw it 102 and see what happens.
Yeah, and
I'd rather him hit a 102 mile per hour fastball up in the zone than hit a hanging splitter. I'd rather get beat with the 102 mile per hour fastball.
Exactly. But and that's where you want to see Grayson. But you're right. We've seen people have the stuff like Gausman and not be able to put it together for years.
Even Yadier Cano, Josh, that kid is 29.
Right.
No.
He
might be the best reliever in baseball. He's 29.
No. But Cano's different because of the Cuban side.
Okay, still though.
He was banned. He was banned from stepping on a baseball field for a year.
Right.
In Cuba.
But where was he 2 years ago with the Twins? Like he wasn't this guy. Or
no.
The Twins would never traded Lopez for him and another guy. I think like 3 other guys actually, and him, if they knew it was this guy, right?
Yeah, no, I hear you. He had a 9.2 ERA with Minnesota.
Yeah, he wasn't this guy.
and 1869 with the Orioles last year.
Yeah,
he was not a .98 guy last year. Yes.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of talk about.
But I'm saying
we don't need to revisit, but the fact is, these pitchers sometimes it clicks later. But with Grayson, you hope it clicks soon. Though I mentioned this in the offseason, how many times I talk about this in the offseason? When you rely on young players, the risk increases.
Right.
When you rely on guys who have no track record, and Grayson had no track record in the majors, the risk increases. You just open yourself up to more risk. And so far, the risk it's been an up and down year for Grayson. And at this point, though, you could argue, and I would argue, I care less about how Grayson's pitching in May. I care more about how he's pitching in August, September.
Yeah.
So
just like, right. Just like Means.
Yeah. This is some adversity.
We're fine now.
Yeah.
I don't want him to lose confidence now and it struggle all year when we're okay now. We don't need Grayson. It'd be nice to have Grayson, but we don't need a bad Grayson. We need a good Grayson when you're ready.
Yeah, and so in the meantime, Josh, I do hope this means that Cole Irvin at some point gets the call up whenever that is.
I think he's got to be whatever the next start is. I imagine he goes on this West Coast trip, so maybe San Francisco. Because what do we have? We have 2 more games against Cleveland at home.
Yeah, I don't think Vault is a long-term answer here. I think Vault is going to pitch on Wednesday. I think
Wednesday is still listed as TBD.
Yeah, it's going to be both. I think the question is, are they going to do like
tomorrow?
Yeah, are they going to do an opener situation where they have someone pitch an inning and then bring in both, or does both start it? But I think both is the guy who's going to pitch the majority of innings in that game. And then I would imagine Cole Irvin happens after that, but I guess we'll see. It kind of works out well for them, right? Because
now
they have an off day on Thursday, and then they have another off day on that Monday. So you could rock with Forsters because the 2 off days. So
right,
if you want to.
It might be Cole Irvin on Wednesday, because Brandon Hyde said that both will either start or serve as a bulk reliever for Wednesday,
which means opener.
Which means opener.
Yeah. Cole Irvin's not the opener.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that by bulk reliever,
like Baker.
It means
Brian Baker to start.
It means you're going to do a little piggybacking, is what you're saying.
I mean Brian Baker to start and throw an inning, and then both comes in and throws 4.
Gotcha. Yeah, piggybacking. All right.
So yeah, I'm curious to see, and you know what? I think everyone's going to be tweeting out Grayson Rodriguez starts and like his strikeout rate and how many runs he gives up in Norfolk. I don't care. I don't care about the numbers.
Norfolk numbers don't matter at this point. Yeah,
I know he could dominate AAA. I mean the Orioles I know have, because they're really meticulous with this stuff. I know the Orioles have a plan for Grayson. Grayson needs to do the stuff right to warrant him back to the majors. I just hope he gets back here quickly, but I don't care about stats. I think the Orioles are looking past stats to look at ball location and hard hit rate and that stuff, and that's what I care about more than just the stat line with Grayson. So we'll see.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. So bad weekend. Some bad pitching with Grayson. We've dealt with that. We dealt with the bad stuff. We dealt with John Means setback. Dealt with Cedric Mullins injuries. But we're still 14 games above 500.
We are.
And we made it through.
Yeah.
There's
another topic I want to get to, but I'll hold it for next week.
Well, what's the topic?
Well, this is dumb, but against the Yankees, when we had
we've never avoided dumb topics. So let's get to this dumb topic.
What was it? It was the 7th inning or something, or 8th inning, where we scored 7 runs. You remember that inning against the Yankees?
Yeah.
All right. It's not a big deal. They just put a graphic up there on Masson, and it said it was the most runs scored against the Yankees or at Yankee Stadium since 1912 by the franchise since 1912 when the St. Louis Browns did it.
The St. Louis Browns are not the Baltimore Orioles.
We were the Milwaukee Brewers in like 1890s. Then we went to the St. Louis Browns until like the 30s or whatever, 40s.
Right. That's not us.
Then we became the Baltimore Orioles.
That's in 1954, right?
Yeah, in the 50s.
1954, whatever that is, when the Orioles became the Baltimore Orioles, is when your stats go to.
Right? Isn't that?
You don't go further back.
Weird about calling upon the 1912 St. Louis.
You know what it reminds me of? It's football. It's football. Remember when the Colts left and went to Indianapolis? They took all our stuff they took all the Colts stuff with them, and suddenly they were the Colts, and they took the Colts history with them. When the Ravens came to town, we were very clear of, hey, we're the Ravens. All that Brown history stays in Cleveland.
Yeah.
The Orioles need to do the same thing. The Orioles stats and all these nerds with their stats, it starts in 1954. I think I had that year right.
Right.
When the Orioles came to Baltimore.
1954. You're right. And with baseball, I think it's more prominent because, well, Josh, in the offseason, by the way, in the off season, there's a guest I want to get on the show. I know we debate kind of having guests on the show. There's one guy I want to get, and I want to get him, and I'm gonna get him, and that's the author of the Ballpark Mysteries book for kids.
Okay.
That me and Sas are reading through.
We can do a little bonus episode with him anytime you want.
Okay. Because we're reading a lot about, like, he gets into the history of baseball and some of these stuff. And like, if you talk about teams and their histories, if you go back to the early 1900s, Josh, these teams are moving around. So the Washington Senators existed like 4 different times and then moved to different places. Like the history of it's just what it's chaos. All these team names and switches and stuff. It's just weird to me when you reference a St. Louis Browns stat on Masson. All right, but we're in agreement. The Orioles' history begins in 1954 with the Baltimore Orioles.
And stats are annoying. I think it was in Toronto when Mountcastle hit that 3-run home run. I believe that was the home run. And on the TV, they said, this is the youngest Oriole player to hit a home run in the Sky Dome or whatever it's called since 1970 or something. When we all know for a fact that Machado did it 10 years ago during the playoffs. But because it was postseason, it doesn't count in their stats. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It happened. Who cares if it's postseason or regular season? It happened.
Yeah. Now, I think the history stuff is a lot of fun. Like, I wish the Orioles would do more stuff with their history. And it was fun going to the Atlanta Braves Stadium and going on their, whatever they call it, that walk of fame. I don't know what they call it.
The thing behind home plate. Very cool.
Yeah. And you get to the beginning of like the history of the Braves and you read about like the Boston Bean Eaters, they used to be called, or something. And then it was, I mean, for a long time, right? There was like 12 iterations of Boston teams, right? There was the Boston Braves, the Boston Bees, the Boston Bean Eaters, and then eventually they moved to, actually, I think they moved to Milwaukee Braves, and then moved to Atlanta. But and so it's cool to kind of see that history laid out.
Can I tell you something about that history that bugged me?
But I also, go ahead.
Did you read all the plaques?
I read a lot of the plaques. I didn't read all of them. I read a lot.
All the way at the end, on the right-hand side, there's a plaque about Native Americans.
Okay.
All right. Now, clearly, this is there.
Oh, here we go.
They are the Atlanta Braves.
Right.
And they don't want to get canceled like the Indians and like the Redskins.
Gosh, you can get
so they're sucking up a little. Here's the problem.
I'm nervous about this.
It's talking about a game. It's talking about a game that the Native Americans played that turned into baseball.
Sure. Yeah.
No. But then I look at the photos and the game the Native Americans are playing did not turn into baseball.
It turned into lacrosse.
It turned into lacrosse.
Yeah.
But the Atlanta Braves are trying to picture it as that game turned into baseball. Because they wanted to find some way to put Native Americans into their history board thing to try to not get canceled, I assume. Because I don't know how they can get away with the tomahawk and everything else there in today's world.
Yeah. You're opening up a can of worms.
You're sitting all quiet.
But I do know, okay, fine.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know that game turned into lacrosse.
I'm familiar that lacrosse comes from Native American kind of culture and their games. I don't know the connection between Native Americans and baseball, if there is. I don't know that connection. I'm unaware of the history of Native Americans within the sport of baseball.
I don't know either, but I know that in the pictures, the guys are playing lacrosse.
Okay.
Fair enough. I know.
Fair enough.
I'm sure Native Americans have baseball teams and everything.
Yeah.
And I know that some Native Americans have gone and played in the
Major League Baseball. Sure.
Yes. But they were presenting it as lacrosse is baseball.
Yeah. You remind me too, Josh. We used to have book talks on here. We need to get back to our book talks. I guess we can wait till the off season.
Yeah. You want me to go to since we're on this sketchy subject, you want me to go to Target and pick up some books?
No, have yourself pick up some books at Target
and grab a Bud Light,
crack open a Bud Light, and enjoy your reading. No, I just picked up a Dad Will Be Proud. I picked up a biography of Brooks Robinson from the library. I'm just going to crack open.
All right. Maybe I've got a biography sitting here of a baseball player as well that I haven't had a chance to get to yet.
Okay, what's that?
Bo Jackson.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
So we could do a biography off.
Yeah. I just finished that book everyone's talking about I don't know if everyone's talking about it. People in our family are talking about the short stringers and the long stringers. I
don't know what you're talking about.
Where this?
I don't know what you're talking about. No.
All right.
What's the book?
I don't know what it's called. It's called, I don't know. It's about, when you turn 22, at your door is a box, and you open the box, and the length of the string equals the length of your life.
Who's talking about this?
Laura read it, then gave it to Dad. Dad read it, and he gave it to me, and I just read it. So you've been left out of the loop, Josh. Everyone in our family is going to come to family vacation having this background knowledge of having read this book about short stringers and long stringers, and you're the last one who's read it.
I am still struggling through Fairy Tale.
Really? You haven't finished that yet?
I went hard in December on it, and then life happened, and I fell behind, and I started it again yesterday at the beach. So I'm going to try to wrap it up this week.
It's called The Measure. The book is called The Measure, by the way.
All right. I'll avoid it.
All right. Well,
no, thank you.
It's going to be the talk of the town in family vacation, so you're going to miss out.
Maybe I'll skip that too.
Yeah. All right.
So.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right.
We've gone long. We got off topic. The problem is there's too much Orioles content to talk about, so I can't get off topic anymore.
No.
And I got to sneak it in sometimes.
No, but I also know that part of our listener base wants us to get off topic all the time.
Well, I just complained
so it's a balance.
You shouldn't do a podcast more than an hour because I don't have time to listen. And now we just are about to go an hour and 10 or something.
No, I'm going an hour 10. You're going about an hour.
Fair enough.
You signed off for a little bit, and I had to. Thankfully, I had Topper here to help me out.
You and Topper. I mean, I think next week I'll just take like 20 minutes off. I'll go to the bathroom, get a drink, and
I just take it. I almost called you this week after the New York game, saying, "Hey, let's hop on live sometime after some of these games."
Yeah, there's some amazing games against the Yankees.
So I think we should hop on and do a little post game, a little bit kind of like Bird Down Tonight, but do it here as Section 336 once in a while.
Yeah, no, I could be up for that, especially if the games can end at like 9:00. I could be.
Yeah, we will not be doing it for the road trip next weekend.
Oh, is that a West Coast trip?
Yeah, we go to San Francisco. So Friday night's a 10:10 start, and then Saturday is a Saturday night special 10:15 start. Or no, 10:15 on Friday, 10:05 on Saturday, 4:05 on Sunday.
Yeah. I talked to Emily today. We were talking about kind of our summer plans, and it's marked on the calendar now, Josh. June 22nd, I'm going to Wilmington to see them play Aberdeen. I just hope it's a doubleheader. I just hope Jackson Holiday is still there.
June 22nd?
On June 22nd.
You're going to Wilmington?
Wilmington, yeah. On our way to Richmond.
All right. I think that is when I'm going. I think it's the 23rd. I'm going to Baltimore. Are you going to sneak up from Richmond to Baltimore for any games that weekend?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Nothing set in plans, but we'll be at Richmond from the 22nd to like the 28th or something. And so I think if I can go to Baltimore one of those days, a couple of those days.
Yeah, I'm going to be 23rd, 24th are the two games I'm looking at maybe getting up to. Probably the 24th. I'll probably be able to get to the 24th. That Saturday. And then
okay.
And then the 1st I'm looking at going to as well. Or the 30th or probably the 30th. Okay. Probably the 24th and the 30th I'm looking at going to. And then Tampa. I want you to come down to Tampa for July 22nd.
Yeah, I got to talk to Emily about that.
A lot of Oriole fans coming down because the Orioles are playing so well. Yeah. So if any 336ers want to join us in Tampa, let me know.
Join Josh in Tampa. I'm a maybe.
You're a maybe, but you told me the distance for you to drive to Tampa, and I'll tell you that's shorter than my drive to Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, and probably shorter than some drives I'm making to some of these minor league games.
Correct.
I went to Rome, Georgia this past weekend.
So there's a large Facebook group up to 65 Oriole fans sitting together right now.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm going to join that group and hoping you can join as well.
Absolutely. All right. Sounds good. All right, cool. Anything else you want to plug? Any Berlin sports stuff you want to get out?
Shirts are still coming out. You can get the R City shirts. They're very popular, a lot more popular than I expected, even with the Twitter trash. So go check that out. I made some more Charm City shirts, as well as Kyle Bradish has a shirt that came out yesterday, and Mrs. Bradish ordered it last night and messaged me. And by nice. Mrs. Bradish, I mean his mom.
Fair enough. I don't know if Kyle's married or not, but good for the mother.
I think he is, but the mom messaged me loving it. So
yeah.
I think I prefer.
About me, I think my mom would be the first person to order it.
I definitely prefer hearing from the moms rather than the wives. The moms are more fun and more appreciative.
I can imagine. Mothers love to see their sons on T-shirts. I think that's a fact. I think that's a universal truth.
Yep. Over on iTunes, if you can give us a review, we greatly appreciate that. We haven't read some in a while, and I've got one for you. My favorite O's pod by JB in the D-ville. Started listening here and there during the rebuild. Been listening every week since last year. Look forward to new episodes every week. Enjoy the O's talk, but also the personal stories about attending games, PS5 scams, and the like. Thanks for the great content. Like I said, we have to get off topic sometimes. Our listeners like it and enjoy it.
All right. Fair enough.
I also don't think that we read this one that came in from Matt Kinney, a bird in Beantown. As an Orioles fan that now lives in Boston, it's hard to find people that care about the birds enough to hear me talk about them. Listening to your conversations, commentary, and takes for an hour gives me an outlet that I'm sure my Red Sox fan wife appreciates. I just ordered a shirt from the Birdland Sports Store to support the pod. Keep up what you're doing. So we appreciate that. Show shirts are available over on birdlandsports.com. Just search section 336 or click on the podcast tab.
Yeah, we always, I always appreciate listeners in enemy territory. So props to him for listening in Boston. I have to put up with, I just was out of Memorial Day cookout today and people talking about the Braves. I was like, where's the O's talk here? I need some O's talk. Enough of this Braves talk. And I got to say, you can go and support us over at section336.com. Click support if you want to support us through PayPal or Patreon. I think you can even Venmo us there. And then I did get some messages about saying they'd like to get in on our private game chat. Oh, so really? That's something we got to talk and see if more people are interested. So if you're interested in being in the text thread that Matt and I have for almost every single Oriole game, good and bad, message us and let us know, and we might open that up to some special supporters. That's fine. I just say so many outrageously dumb things on there. Yes. I'm nervous. I don't want anyone to screenshot me. I just say stupid stuff. Okay. Right. If you're joining, you got to remember that you're being brought into the circle of trust where Matt and I will say things just to annoy each other. Things we don't even believe. Yes. But we just say. Correct. Yeah. Right. And then I got to thank, as I'm closing this out, last thing, I want to thank JD, who messaged me that he is sending me a Ryan Mountcastle bobblehead as they gave him away this past week. Oh, very cool. You know, I collect bobbleheads. That Adley Rutschman bobblehead. What about it? Are you? I mean, you're the bobblehead connoisseur here. The City Connect. No. The Captain America Adley Rutschman bobblehead. Oh yes, that giving away. Well, you know, Captain America is also my guy. I got two Captain Americas sitting over here with the bobblehead. Oh yeah, so it's right up your alley. So yes, the Adley Captain America bobblehead I will need. I will need all the Felix Bautista bobblehead, and I did give in to FOCO and pay the $80 for a Gunnar Henderson City Connect bobblehead. $80 for a bobblehead. I know. They suckered me in last year with the John Means no-hitter, and they take like 6 months to deliver. Oh, too. Do they? Yeah, because they sell them. They do the smart thing. They sell them all, and then they say, okay, let's make them. Let's get all your money, and then we'll make them and send them to you. Yeah. So they did sucker me in with that. But you got anything to plug, Matt? Or you want to wrap this up? Because I just gave a whole bunch of plugs. I got nothing to plug. So you can follow me on Twitter. That's my plug, at Section336. You can follow Josh on Twitter. At Josh Soroka, at Birdland Sports. Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.
Doesn't that sound refreshing? Why not take it up a notch and make it a Dunkin' Refresher? If you're a Dunkin' Rewards member, you can get a $3 medium Dunkin' Refresher every day all month long. That's a lot of refreshment, and it's pretty refreshing. Not a member? Join on the Dunkin' app. Dunkin' Rewards. Save them, stack them, use them how you want. America runs on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per day. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Meet Zach. His work-life balance is anything but balanced. But when he gets on the bike, he becomes Zen Zach. Zen Zach exists outside of time. His heartbeat sounds like a mellow drum circle.
It's cool, right?
The only notification he hears is the sound of the ocean. So if you want to reach him, talk to the ocean. Zenzak is so zen because he has 24/7 expert claim service with Geico, which is totally chill. Geico Motorcycle, expert coverage for both your sides.
The new Chevy Silverado HD puts you in command. Own strength with its enhanced available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8. Own the lake with its available advanced towing technology. And own technology with an available 13.4-inch diagonal touchscreen. The new Chevy Silverado HD. Own work, own play, own life. Learn more at Chevy.com. Find new roads. Chevrolet.